Welcome to From Carpool to College, a show for parents who are trying to get ahead or just keep their sanity while navigating the college planning landscape. Welcome to From Carpool to College. We have an interesting, I hope it's not too grim. We have an interesting thing to talk about today.
I did not think of it at all like that. You did?
Well, I don't know. We're going to talk about the future. We're going to talk about, all right, so let me just back up. Welcome to From Carpool to College. I'm Tracy Amadeo.
Tara Horitz.
We are your humble hosts, and this is a safe place where we discuss your children's future.
That's right.
So Tara found this infographic last week that she sent me through LinkedIn. And we've been obsessed with this infographic ever since. And of course.
But why?
Well, because the title of it is called The Core Skills for 2030. And it's it looks like a quadratic equation kind of graphic. And it talks about what the future skills are going to be, what skills are going to be in demand in 2030.
Right.
Which sounds like it's a sci-fi movie, but legit, it's just 5 years away.
It is. You're right.
It's terrifying.
I know.
So because our listeners, our wonderful audience, has middle school age kids and high school kids, this is like super pertinent to you guys. It's also for us too. I mean, right now I'm giggling inside because I know that there are two emerging adults in my house just right in their beds still convalescing from hangovers. And I'm thinking, how are those two going to get jobs? One actually does have a job. And I know it's the weekend, but it's a little terrifying when I look at this list and think, are my kids going to make it? And how will they make it? I have two in college. Are they in the correct major? Like I got nervous looking at this thing. What were your feelings when you looked at this infographic, Tara?
Well, I think because my children are just a little bit younger, right? So they're not graduation from college. So when I look at this, I think of a world of possibilities and moving in the right direction, right? You're in the know. You can understand a little bit more. It's totally idealistic. And
no, it's great. I think of I totally screwed up my kids. That's why I look at this and I'm like, my kids are going to be living in a box.
But that's the thing. All this information, and this is a reputable source, right?
Who is it?
It's the World... what is it called? The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Survey 2024.
Okay.
It's a .org. And
.org is good. Okay.
They poll tons of different industries to kind of gather this information. They put out new reports every 2 years. But of course, this one kind of hit a little bit differently because of the infusion of artificial intelligence and everything that's going on in terms of technology in the world, right?
Right.
So everyone you speak to at every barbecue, cocktail party, getting in line, getting your morning coffee, usually has talked about AI or mentioned something with it or has felt a little tinge of fear, right, when it comes to it, especially if you're a little bit older, because you're thinking that
our demographic.
Yeah, you're
right.
thinking...
We're thinking the Terminator.
Yeah, we'll be replaced. And, even just we rode past a Tesla dealership the other day where they have the Tesla robot in there in the window.
Way.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't think I want to.
You don't want to, because they use that a lot on different social media platforms as almost a... stand-in for what AI would look like if it was in some sort of a robot form, right?
Sure. Oh my God.
But it is everywhere, and I think that it's important to, now more than ever, have a sense of where those skills and necessary, just characteristics come into play as our children, students, are making their way and trying to figure out where they want to be in terms of a career.
Sure. And we're applying to colleges and we're wondering, what majors should we select? How do we know? How do we direct our kids on what to study? Right. And of course, we know kids too. We don't want to put them in a major or a career trajectory that may yield a lot of money if they're going to be miserable. We were talking about that over our quiche and coffee earlier,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So we want to make sure, we want to have this conversation today with you about being present in conversations with your kids, not necessarily forcing them in a certain direction, but making sure that as you're considering colleges and majors, that there is an infusion of skills, acquiring skills and the congruence of technology.
That's right.
Because the underlying theme is we're not going to lose our humanity, we hope, too much.
Right.
As we just explore these data points. But the information, we don't need to be. Remember Cliff Clavin from Cheers?
Yeah.
How he was like a walking encyclopedia?
Yeah.
Like, how old am I right now?
Right. That's okay.
Using walking encyclopedia and Cliff Clavin as benchmarks. But our listeners know exactly who I'm talking about. Yeah. That, wow, you know so much. You know that person who you want on your trivia team to win that $100 gift card, right? Yes. That person is replaced already. That person's replaced by technology. So the idea is there are core skills that are irreplaceable, that are going to be in high demand today, emerging, and especially in the future. So we're going to break those down for you a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that it's important to just kind of note that when we were applying to different schools, it wasn't as pigeonholed, right? Or there wasn't such specific emphasis put on danger in certain career choices or whatever. It was much more open. So figuring out that you want to become, you major in education or nursing or whatever the major was, there was always something.
Right. It was more vocationally oriented.
Yes.
Right. Except I was a psych major and I remember getting my chops busted all the time being a psych major. Oh, what are you going to do with that? You're going to be a teacher? And back then I was just like, no, I'm going to be the next Sigmund Freud, which I became a teacher.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, to your point, it was more vocationally oriented. And now it's more of, hopefully, if done the right way, it's more of continuing to learn how to learn and demonstrate that you have the skill. Being a student is actually a skill.
Yeah.
And that you're continually learning, because we were just joking about how techie we've become when we set up our recording.
We had to be.
It's necessity. So let's look at some of these dots on the core skills. What do you want to start with, Tara?
Okay. So one of the things that I happen to notice are the categories at the bottom, and how some of those categories, which were, important, they were popular.
My chair, sorry.
In terms.
Okay. You hear that? That's a chair, everyone.
Wait a minute, Tracy. What? That's a creaky chair that could maybe be replaced with something a little bit more comfortable if our listeners can remember.
I love what you just did.
To help us by subscribing to our podcast.
Subscribe to our podcast.
Like it.
Click like.
And also share.
Share, please. Because this creaky chair.
Yeah, I hear it. And that helps any platform that you're listening to the podcast on, that helps give that information to them and let them know that we have an audience.
Right. It helps us continue our promise of delivering great content to you so you could do right by your kids. So help us help you. Did I just quote Jerry Maguire? Help me help you. Help us help you.
Is his job going to be, what do you think?
Jerry Maguire's?
Yeah.
Well, that's it's an attorney, right?
Yeah,
I think a lot of law, because my husband's an attorney. There probably is a lot that can be shortcutted.
Yes,
but there still needs to be a human brain behind arguments.
Right.
And that humanity element of it all.
Right. And so with the downsizing, right, there will be a lot of downsizing in terms of those maybe entry level parts to a law firm, right? Administrative assistant, things like that, versus the lawyer themselves.
Right. My mom was a legal assistant, and she would listen to headphones and type out the
transcription. I used to do that for scripts. Yep. We did different shows.
Okay.
And that was a little side hustle. And you had a little pedal. And
the pedal.
Yep. And you would just listen for hours and hours and transcribe the whole script.
And now
you can just run it through. AI.
AI picks it up, right?
Yep.
So think of AI as like outsourcing. Right?
Yeah, it is.
So let's go through some of these bullets so we could talk about how parents could understand. We always say in our podcast that we want you to never have to say, oh, I wish I knew then what I know now. So
right. And I think you have to couple that. I wish I knew then, or I wish I know now. Right. Whatever it is.
No, I wish I knew then what I know now. Yeah.
But I think we also have to, in the back of our minds, remember that these are our children, right? And we want them to be happy with whatever their choices are. We want them to find joy in whatever career path they make. So it's just maybe a slight nudge in the right direction so they can find that happiness, but also be able to provide for themselves.
Yeah. We want them to be independent and get out of the house.
And we're not just saying you should follow where the money is. You should follow where the success is, because that's a whole other episode.
I know.
That is.
And we don't want your kid. Yeah. We work with clients all the time too, who say, it is important for me to make money, and this is how much I want to make, and what kind of careers do I have for this? And you're not starting at six figures.
Right. So we'll put this document in the show notes. Right?
Yes.
If we can, we'll link it. It's really great because it's a one-pager and it breaks it up into the different sections. So emerging skills, so that are not maybe super essential now, but are expected to increase. The core skills needed, and then the skills that are less essential and not expected to increase, and those that are core now, they'll probably stay at some level for a while, but they will they won't increase in terms of popularity.
Right.
So some of the skills, as you can imagine, going into 2030, right? So that's just 5 years from now, focus on all areas of technology.
Right. What's the highest one?
AI and big data.
Right. So AI and big data. So that has to do with understanding how algorithms make decisions, how data is collected and used, and how AI is kind of touching every industry. It's even powering college admissions. It's down to what my Spotify recommends I listen to. And what Spotify recommends you listening to by clicking subscribe and like on From Carpool to College. Like what I just did there. I just threw that right in.
Can I even say something that I was in doing all this research, which I have, we both went to town on this.
Yeah.
But the AI is so powerful that it's actually slowly going to, I think, replace Googling.
Oh, yeah, I could see that already because Google interface it.
Or it's going to transform what that means to Google something.
Well, and that brings us to our next data point. So another core skill that in 2030 is going to be increased in importance is something called technical literacy. So technical literacy, and this is fascinating. Tara and I see this as teachers all the time. So it's beyond the basic computer skills, technical literacy. It's actually knowing how to adapt the tools and troubleshoot programs, understanding that whole landscape. So we have kids, like I worked with a kid the other day who couldn't troubleshoot. Oh, I forgot what it was. But it's like the world is at their fingertips, but when the technology doesn't work, they shut down. They're just used to the input, output, that they can't diagnose where something went wrong to be able to fix it or to develop a workaround. So that technical literacy is something that is going to be huge in the future. So it's not necessarily coding, which I hear is on the decline now. We were so big on coding. I mean, of course, you have to know how it works, but AI is coding now.
Right.
But it's the workaround. It's what happens when it doesn't work, how to fix it, how to diagnose. So
how to make sure you're asking whatever the technology you're using, how to make sure you're asking it the right questions and at the right time.
Which brings us to another big dot, which is the big blue one over there on this beautiful infographic, is the creative thinking. And that is another skill set that it's the problem solving, it's innovation and thinking outside the box. So AI can generate the information, but humans first must frame the right questions in generating the right prompts. So for your kids, parents, as you're talking about what do you want to study in college, you're going to declare a major, you always want to encourage brainstorming. You do want to encourage art. You want to encourage music, debate, open-ended assignments, all the things that the kids are working on in school. Have those conversations. We're going to have a guest in a couple of episodes who is a Bachelor's of Fine Arts major, and she's going to talk about her experience at the university where she is and just finishing up. And she has the creative mind and she's producing, but she also is a digital creator. So she has kind of that diversity of skills where she is not just about being a vocal performer. She is writing her own music. She's producing her own music. She has the technical skills and she's promoting her own music, and she has the merch and the business end of it. So we don't ever want you to tell your kids, oh, you shouldn't pursue that because AI is going to take that over. That's not what this discussion is about. But we need to be cognizant that AI and technology is changing the workforce landscape. No matter what you want to bury your heads in the sand about it or not, but it is changing. We will always need our trades, but they're going to look differently.
Right.
They're going to look different. So we'll always need our plumbers and electricians. We'll always need our carpenters, but our carpenters may be using more robotics and more automated mechanisms in their craftsmanship, which kind of sucks, but whatever. Yeah. Not to say.
But if you do look at it a little bit in a more positive way, you could say that although in the beginning there might be, let's just say, a higher price point, right? Where they have to charge you more because they're trying to cover the cost of their new robot that they bought to diagnose the plumbing issue. But in the end, it'll save them time, and then hopefully that would, decrease the cost or whatnot and their overhead and everything else involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And the robot diagnoser, we were talking earlier also about the skills of the future that are kind of going to be less in focus, and one of them was the manual dexterity, endurance and precision skills, which, yes and no. I mean, yes, I could see. Listen, I had a TMI. I had a hysterectomy last year, and this beautiful robot named Da Vinci, the Da Vinci robot. Some of you have had surgery where it was robotically performed. So my fantastic surgeon, who's so handsome too, I hope he's not listening to this, he was behind the screen and using it like a joystick, like he was in an arcade in like in the 80s with the screen and the joystick. I looked at everything before they knocked me out because I was so curious about it. But this big robot came in and took out my girl parts. It was absolutely amazing. So he had the fine motor skills for sure, but we're talking about the precision of robots and technology replacing a lot of what we're doing now, which is not a terrible thing.
No.
I'd rather have a robot who has the precision and the good programming and solid technology and maintenance upkeep rather than, Dr. McShakyhand who had too much espresso. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
Right.
I don't know, Tara.
Right. But when you have a question or when you have, you're feeling a little overwhelmed about your procedure, you want to be able to talk to somebody versus putting it into a computer.
Totally.
Right?
But also, I was also the same woman who, when my husband's oldest, they're expecting twins, and so they sent us a picture of the ultrasound. I made a screenshot of it and I threw it in AI to see if I could get the sex of the babies before anyone else knew. I know. She's making a face at me. Well, you know what AI said?
What?
AI said that this picture, this ultrasound is of identical twins who it had all these great details, and it said that it's only at like 10 weeks and 5 days, and it's unable to determine the sex.
Interesting.
Right. Mm-hmm. But think about that. Like, there are just ChatGPT read an ultrasound for me.
Yeah.
I hope my kids aren't listening to this right now. Sorry, kids. They're boys, by the way. Yay. A lot of boys. We have a lot of boys.
You do have a lot of boys.
My husband and I have 5 boys between us. He has 3. I have 2. It's our second marriage. And then his first son and wife have a 1-year-old, and now they are expecting identical twins who are boys in December.
Is the 1-year-old a boy too?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Hey, speaking of all these kids, where are teachers in all this? What's in the future? What's our future like?
Well, I have to explore this a little bit more, but it did say that our teachers and mentors are on the decline.
Which is like what we're all about.
Although it did say that higher ed and high school level teachers they're going to
be in demand. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And in demand. So we were trying to determine what that really meant. Does that mean that the role of the K through 8 teacher is a little bit different? Does it look different in 5 years from now?
I just can't see how that could be replaced, but there are people who say it. My husband even says it too. He's like, yeah, you're going to be replaced by a hologram. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Can we make it 10 pounds lighter looking and 10 years younger looking? Oh, I don't know. But these are conversations. This is a conversation we're having with you, parents, because it's just food for thought. Because your kids are looking at applying to colleges. Your kids are talking about career trajectories. What do you want to be when you grow up? And we want you to be aware of the question. The question has changed. It's not what you want to be when you grow up, because when you grow up, first of all, we know it always changes, but also the jobs of the future are not even here yet. Remember back in the day, Tara, we were in college and there was no major called Homeland Security.
Right.
Right. It wasn't until after 9/11 that really became a focus and a major. Similarly, some of these, the majors now, the tech majors.
Cybersecurity,
right. That's a new major, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, talk about needing it. Last week, my Facebook was hacked, and I was so vulnerable that I had the business account on there, my personal account. Someone busted in, and I know how it happened because I was phished. I got a fake email, and I responded to it like a bobo. And next thing I know, someone pirated my identity and said that my uncle was going to a nursing home or something, and they were selling off all these items, and people were coming to my house, Tara, because they left deposits on Zelle for this pirate. And it was me. It was my name. It was terrible, but I got it back, thank God. But cybersecurity, big part of the future, but also part of that. Another item on this essential skill list, if you will, for 2030 is analytical thinking, right? So you don't necessarily have to, you're not going to declare a major in analytical thinking. But let me tell you something. If you're a philosophy major, your mind is analytically thinking.
Yes.
If you're a psychology major, analytical thinking. Any major of its worth is going to have a component of analytical thinking. Yeah. Any major of its worth is going to have another dot, the leadership and social influence. And I'm not just talking about becoming an influencer, but it's just about the ability to mobilize people around an idea, to build trust, to communicate effectively. That communications majors. Yeah. Every major is going to have those skills embedded. And it's important for you parents to understand, let's focus less on the major, more on the skills embedded. That's what this report is saying. Yeah. That's what we're getting from it.
Yeah, definitely. There's also focus on leadership, right? And social influence, which I believe means social media, but it also means creating a community within, an organization or job of some sort. It falls under the category. I chuckled when I was taking down some notes. It says working well with others. Do you remember back in pre-K or elementary when you had that as a category, works well with others?
Yes. And it was like A U for unsatisfactory, a N for needs improvement, S for
Yes.
satisfactory, O for outstanding. I'm going to guess, Tara, you got all O's.
Probably.
Yeah, me too. And this is why we became teachers.
But what another part of that is that some of these skills are falling short a little. So within working well with others, the skill or the characteristic of having empathy and being an active listener is kind of falling into that. It's still a skill. It's good, but it's not one of those up and coming fast, taking on speed as it continues throughout, the next several years. So that was the one part that I felt to be a little bit scary because empathy is huge.
I know. We've watched too many Netflix specials about serial killers to know that the absence of empathy is bad.
Right.
Bad. My brother and I were just at a picnic yesterday. I was talking to him about this report, and I actually showed him the infographic. He's a pretty high up in I'll say in Comcast cable. What is it? NBC Comcast. And he was saying how team building is so important. And he says that our generation, Gen X, has a little bit of an insecurity with hiring the next generation, not necessarily the millennial, but the emerging, the Gen Zs as they leave college and they're getting onto the job because they're maybe not as resilient and flexible as their predecessors. So they're doing things in HR to make sure that people feel included, and they're really trying to meet the needs of the generation. But the takeaway is they're not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. And there needs to be things in place to...
Which is interesting, not to cut you off, but according to this graphic, there is that sense of one of the skill sets is having resilience, having flexibility, agility, curiosity, being a lifelong learner, motivation, self-awareness, all falling under that self-efficacy.
Totally.
And if that's an up-and-coming skill set and many of the younger generation is lacking, that's something to think about. Just in terms of, choosing courses, choosing experiences.
Like when you think about like resilience, flexibility, agility, internships, and even going on a missions trip or going to study abroad. Like we're going to have our guest tomorrow. We're going to be recording. She went to Italy for 3 weeks over winter semester, and talk about demonstrating that experience demonstrates that she has resilience, flexibility, agility. She's able to adapt to change, to bounce back from setbacks, to remain open to new ways of doing things. Because we know the only constant in the modern workplace is change, right? It's constant change. So for your kids, it's tough because we don't like to see them fail, right? So we have our insecurities as parents, but keep encouraging your kids to try new things, even if they might fail.
Yeah. And looking at the skills and thinking about that, when picking a good, major, just remember that these majors are very different from, years ago. They can be so customizable, right?
Yeah.
With pairing it with a minor and also just those micro degrees and different things that you can do with it.
Right. The credentials.
Yeah.
The
different
certs.
credentials. The rule of thumb is that what makes a good major is the interest, the ability, and the opportunities that are afforded, right? So if you think of it in those terms, I think opportunity is something that you can look at in terms of this report that has come out to see what types of opportunities will be available with regards to the major that is, on the table that your child is thinking of.
Yeah, we want your kids to be able to graduate college and get a job. And we know that job is not going to be the gold watch, 25 years of experience like our parents had, working for the same place. They're going to be all over the place. Life is not linear. Career trajectories are not. But as you're looking at colleges, parents, as you're looking at trade schools, we need you to look for the job placement rates, because if the job placement rates are higher, then we know we could infer that that institution is doing a good job of infusing those elements and components that are going to give them a stronger foothold in the working world in all different domains. But specifically today, we're talking about just those main technical literacy, creative thinking, leadership and social influence, analytical thinking, the talent management, curiosity and lifelong learning. So whereas the major doesn't necessarily have to be the central question, rather we're talking about what experiences during the program are going to give your kid those, mastering those skills, or at least having a skill set. Thinking about, you talked about the micro credentials too. Both of my stepsons were able to get their jobs because of one or two courses, standalone courses. Like Jonah, my middle stepson, he is 29. He went to Temple. He was going to start a nursing degree. And he was like, nope, no way. And we're like, okay, so let's pivot. So of course, when mom is a college planner, I was like, give me his transcript. Let's get him out of here in 4 years. What can he take? Well, he always loved history. He was also kind of creative. All the stepsons they're super creative. And I saw, there were a couple of liberal arts degrees that we could wheel and deal and get him done in 4 years. One of them was a history degree. Okay, let's get him done. Well, what the heck is he going to do with a history degree? Well, he did Teach for America. So he did Teach for America, taught, what did he teach? Not history. Nope. He taught algebra, special ed, and like in-class support chemistry. Then he realized teaching was not for him. So came home, I gave him a strong interest inventory, which is also a bonus when you have a stepmom who is a career and college planner. The strong interest inventory, for those of you who don't know, it's just the gold standard of, it's a tool, a diagnostic tool for students, adults to take that aligns our interests with the same interests and skills of people who say that they love their jobs. So if we're considering a career change, especially Tara at our age, when we decide our second act, what are we going to do after teaching? What are we going to do at a certain point? What are you going to do, parents, when your kids leave the nest? Are you going to keep going? Are you going to sell the house? Are you going to keep your job? Are you going to pivot? So similarly, students take the strong interest inventory to figure out where can I pivot to? What are some choices? So his strong interest inventory led him to kind of digital creating. I led him to taking a CAD class, CAD, computer automated drafting. And just that one course got him into a new career trajectory, and he's killing it. He's working in the city, making more than us, don't even ask. And he's crushing it. He loves it. So again, it was the tech skill. It was the tech skill that got the job.
And and you found that out through that strong interest.
Through the strong interest inventory.
Right. Okay. Yep. So that's a really good thing to remember if you feel that your child is kind of floundering and not knowing where to go, what's the next step, and really kind of concerned about it.
Right. Because it's also, we're going into an investment, right? Your kid's in high school. They're talking about college. You're on that college train. Okay. Well, we don't necessarily have to have a major, but we do need to know what we're good at. Yeah. What we like.
Right.
What we suck at.
Yeah.
You really have to, it's an inventory. It's an interest inventory.
Tell us how does it work? Is it like hours and hours and hours?
No. It's like 200 questions. Like, would you rather do this or do this? Do you feel strongly about this? It's a Likert scale, and it's fully computerized.
Okay.
The clients
can be done virtually.
Oh yeah, it's done totally done virtually. And then I'm licensed to deliver these things, so I have a protocol that I have to follow to maintain the integrity of the test, and it involves a brief sit down virtually with my client, talk about just where they're at, what their goals are, so I can get a sense of things. I pick which strong interest inventory version is appropriate for my client. I send them the tests online. It takes about a half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
I get the data, put it all together, plug, work with the Myers-Briggs company. And then we get a nice 15-page report about what you kind of different zones of what you're good at, different types of jobs. There's different results, like different areas of results for different realms, if you will. But it is fascinating.
It's an updated version of What Color is Your Parachute, kind of?
Yes, but
Okay.
detailed. Like
detailed,
like
yes.
really detailed. Yes, for sure.
So you can walk away with some solid evidence.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's even one I do for the high school kids. That's a
That's
major
amazing.
finder. It is.
I wish that
I know.
I would have done that years ago.
Well, I did actually in high school.
don't
And it
remember
said I should be
doing
a
that.
counselor. It was kind of, and then you know what the other one was?
What?
Which I was looking, clergy. But if I
Really?
think about it, yeah, clergy, right? I curse like a sailor, first of all.
Yeah, that would not be good.
She's validating. Yes, she does. Not for the podcast, though. I'm really good with it because producer Chris, notice you're not doing much beeping out of anything, right? I'm
Yeah.
learning. And our time is almost up too. But it said clergy, and I'm not surprised though, because it's like helping people, listening, and you know, I'm a spiritual girl,
Right.
so it makes sense. But yeah, I would not.
Teaching, delivering a message.
Yeah, but that's not my jam. But I could see how it came up. Very interesting. So,
All right. So, really, just to quickly wrap up, so some of the things that parents can do to help their child, their student better understand, skills and what's going on. So, we said that they can go to LinkedIn, maybe. Did we talk about this? Going to LinkedIn and kind of looking to see what the jobs are there.
yes and no.
Yes
I'm
and
kind of
no?
like, yes,
Okay.
but like I feel like for parents, I got the two hungover kids upstairs right now, right? You think I'm going to be able to go up to them and be like, hey, go on LinkedIn, Alex. See what? No.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So
like
that's
for
like,
us,
right.
for the paranoid parent, yes.
Okay.
But it's not going to be effective.
Okay. Cross that one off. Strong interest inventory.
Yes, strong interest inventory is a great start. There are free versions online. They're not as good, but they're free. We love free, right, Tara? We love free. One of them I use is called Truity, Truity. It's a nice interest inventory.
Like
so
a start.
it's like a
place
good.
to
It's a
start.
good
Okay.
place to start. It's like kind of like the watered down lemonade version of a
Yeah.
good boardwalk lemonade.
Well, how do you feel? And then one other thing for parents to consider: how do you feel about just changing, rephrasing some of the conversations and questions that we might think to ask? Like, what major do you want? What do you want to do in life?
What do you
right?
want to do? Right. We were joking earlier about that terrible video from the 80s, the Twisted Sister video. I Want to Rock. The video starts with this terrible man yelling at his kid, and he's like, "What do you want to do with your life?" Right?
Yeah.
And then it like, and it goes, "I want to rock." It's so bad. Anyway, like, yeah, don't do that. Don't be that guy. Don't be, "What do you want to do with the rest of your life?" That's just a great way to shut your kid down. Trust me, I've done it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work. But think about questions like, not even questions, like good luck getting your kid to talk to you as much as you would like them to talk to you about, frankly. But do some research, parents. Do research about job placement for the colleges that you're looking at. The national average, 70% is what 2024 graduates, 70% of 2024 graduates with a bachelor's degree got jobs, I think 6 months out of college. That's the national data. So you want to look for colleges that are higher than national, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, back in 2019, it was 86%. So what does that say? That's another episode. But that's where parents, you could put your energy into, and just understand, parents, that it's the mindset of what skills your kids are going to acquire should they choose to go to college. If they go to a trade school, it's a no-brainer. Obviously, you know what skills they're going to acquire.
Right.
As far as college goes, it's a little more broad, and your majors and minors are going to be all over the place, but make sure there's that infusion and consideration, that element of technology, even if it's one class or two classes.
Yep.
That's the takeaway.
It's a pairing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like wine and cheese.
That's right.
Delicious.
Sounds good to me.
We're going to end on that. Well, thanks for joining us, parents. We will have notes up on our Patreon page, and we do appreciate all of your support. Thank you for listening to us on From Carpool to College. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share. I am Tracy Amadeo.
Tara Horitz.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, we'd love for you to be a part of our growing community. Please share and follow our show. For those who want to support us further, join our Patreon site. Your support helps us create high-quality content and great episodes. Plus, our Patreon members get exclusive perks like bonus episodes, early access, and behind-the-scenes content that we think you're just going to love.
And now for some legal stuff. The content of this podcast is for informational and educational entertainment purposes only and is provided as is with no guarantee of accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or outcomes. I could keep going, but I will spare you, and I will post this entire legal disclaimer on our website, www.academicmentoringllc.com, under podcast. Tara and I are so glad you joined us today on From Carpool to College. See you next time. Something like that.
Yeah.
Done?
That's good.
Okay, Chris, make that pretty, please. Pretty, please. Make it pretty, please.
Check, check, 1, 2.
And over here looks good too. Oh, this looks better, Tara.